So, Raf,
Yeah, man.
thanks for
Thank you.
finally coming
Thank you,
to the
Mets.
Elevate Experience podcast. Raf, you're not only an artist, you're a free thinker, events manager, recording artist. I've seen some of your rap. It's unbelievable. You're an expert on ayahuasca. Anyone that's done it over 50 times has to be an expert. But you've also done candy nightclubs here in Australia, Thailand, pretty much. I think it's going to go global. Candy on the Arbor, Candy Nightclub, Candy Thailand, Full Moon Party Australia, Miami Friday Nights, Expansion Podcast, your YouTube channel. People can go on there. They can just see how creative you are in terms of just your rap, just the creativity you've got there. And you just love life. Ever since I've known you, you're a man that just loves life, loves growing and consistently growing. And you're so calm.
Thank you, man.
But we're gonna get into that and where I wanted to start, bro.
Yes.
And it's so good to see you. I think there's a
Likewise.
long time coming. I was supposed to come on yours. I'm
Yes.
glad it eventuated into this long because over the last 3 years, I think I've grown a lot.
have.
You've always been on that trajectory, and I guess where I wanted to start. I mean, our history started back in Rockdale when I
Yes,
met you
bro.
there.
Yes.
But in
definitely.
between that, then you were here and we've seen each other. But let's go back. This is where I want to start. I want people to get to know you. You spent 7 years locked
Yes.
up. You're
Yes.
in jail. Tell me what brought you to that? Because I see the guy now and how much the evolution has and the changes that have happened in your life. Tell me what got you to that point, because we're all, when we're in our 20s, we thought
Sure.
we knew everything. I was kind of the same, even though I had the gym at 21. You feel like in your 20s back then,
Yeah.
you know it all and you know nothing.
Yeah.
What happened to get you to that point?
Oh man, I mean, young and dumb, essentially, like a lot of us young boys, and it doesn't take much for you to end up on the other side of the tracks. Like there's a lot of people that will tell you that you're a product of your environment. Others would say not so. I'm a believer that definitely your surroundings determine how you and who you become. I grew up in an era where the west of Sydney was very rough, and my friendships and my relationships developed naturally with boys from the area, and over the years, the simple dumb shit that we all get involved with, like the sort of small gang mentality, that the fights at the Maccas and all that, kind of grew into essentially organized crime, with overseas contacts and so on. So what brought me undone was conspiring to import drugs into the country. Some friends who were at the time family, we were involved in something together through the Federal Express freight system, so I ended up taking the rap for my crew, and initially was sentenced to 9 years, but later on appeal, it was brought down to 7 years, 11 with the 7. And along the way had the sleeping judge, which was made major headlines in Australia and around the world. I won that appeal. I'm the first case. It's a landmark case, Cesan v. the Queen. You can look it up. It was the first case to ever win on the basis of a judge sleeping in court and affecting the outcome of the trial. Went all the way to the High Court, and I won in the High Court 7-0. All judges ruled in my favor. So that was a journey that it was a roller coaster. 7 years, as you can imagine. But yeah, mainly for my family, bro. Like to me, what happened to me, I mean, what happens to us, we're tough boys, where we're from. You cop it on the chin. Yeah. Looking back, it was more a laugh than anything else, in the book that I've written, which is coming out next year on Fin Press, called Cesan v. the Queen. It's mainly a collection of funny stories, funnily enough. But yeah, bro. So that's that side of me that a lot of people don't know about, because I don't wear it on. I don't carry it around like perhaps some people do. Most people are surprised till this day. As a few weeks ago, I did a podcast in Phuket, and the guy couldn't believe that I'd done time, just because I don't know. I guess my demeanor is not exactly that of a person who's lived that life, But yeah, bro, that's a part of me, And, yeah.
He's probably right, because your demeanor's very calm, very collected, very smart, very calculated in terms of doing the right thing. So
Sure.
you wouldn't recognize it about you. And I think a lot of people get a bad rap for individuals that have done time.
Sure.
And I believe everyone deserves a second chance. I mean,
Yeah, man.
if you look, this country's tall poppy syndrome. You go to America, people come in and out of jail, and they become superstars.
Yeah.
You know, there's a greater forgiveness in countries like America and other countries
Sure.
around the world, except this country. I mean, look, you can still come out of it the other side.
Yeah, man.
And I guess what saved you, you were battle hardened. I mean, and the biggest thing that affects us is always our family. It's not what
course.
happens to us or the
No.
pain that happens to us, because we can cop the pain, but it's
That's it, bro.
how they react and how they feel,
Yeah, man.
and all that kind of stuff. That's the biggest effect, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll never forgive myself for what I put my mother through. Rest in peace. She died in 2017. I could have done the time again, to be honest. As bad as it felt, and as much as you're missing out on life and all of that, the reason why I walked away from that life, in particular, the number one reason, second and third reason, was family, and what I put my mum and my sister through as well, because they do the time with you, you know. So you're 100% right in that, but I mean, I guess. My thing, what the skills that I honed in there was obviously resilience, but also drive, because I was already somebody who was probably on path to perhaps achieve some things, but you know, when everything gets taken away from you, I think you want it more than anything else in your life. Your dreams, your goals, you know, that drive to achieve, and then even like the simple things, Mets, like you know. What's the entrepreneur without the man? You know, what's the entrepreneur without the human aspect? And the human aspect, you know, that appreciation for the simple things, you know, like food, you know, a plate of food. I mean, till this day, you know, I've always been a fan of really good food and flavors and you know, home cooked meals. But since I got out, I mean, it was just on another level, and also freedom. You know, and we've had many a conversation about freedom over the years, particularly around COVID and all that. And I know that we share a lot of philosophies when it comes to a lot of these things, but you know, that appreciation for freedom and to live. So if somebody's going to give me any credit for being somebody who perhaps loves life or appreciates life, I can say that the root of it would definitely be mostly due to my time away, those 7 years away as a young man, 23 to 30 years. 23 years old, and I got out when I was 30.
And it's such a pivotal point.
Yes.
Right? And people don't realise some of those are your best years, but like even for me, I think my best years were probably after 33.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if I look at my life, and then, you know, and this is where I want to go with this, because I wanted to get to know about how this whole process worked.
Yeah.
You've done ayahuasca over 50 times, psychedelics, DMT.
Yes.
So when was your first experience with it?
Sure. So it was a bit of a fateful night, to be honest. It was raining heavily, and my mother and I were sitting in my apartment in Clovelly. I've been in the eastern suburbs for a while, which is cool that I'm back in the east after such a long time. But instead of you know, I was like, you know, let's get home delivery. And she was like, no, let's go. So we went to this restaurant, man. It was pissing down, and we sat next down to one of my sister's friends, and they were talking about ayahuasca.
How old were you then?
Man, this is 2014.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's nearly 10 years ago now, and the conversation obviously turned into ayahuasca. I'd heard about ayahuasca. This is way before it became what it is today, as popular as it has become. And next thing you know, I'm organizing through her a seat at this ceremony that she's talking about that they have. And she actually, the ceremony was booked out. She seated her seat for me. And the interesting thing about, and the synchronicity of it all, is it was on the last day of my sentence, my 11-year sentence.
Wow.
In 2014. So it was like a signal for me to kind of go for it. And I showed up at the place, met the shamans, and you know, we drank. I had some small conversations with a few people that were there for the ceremony. Wasn't really sure what to expect. Some people were like, "Oh my God, have you drank before? Oh, it's magical, rah rah rah." But you know what? But I was very unprepared. I didn't do what most people should do when considering psychedelics or ayahuasca. Nowadays, obviously, YouTube documentaries, YouTube stories, you can read about, hundreds and thousands of people from all over the world that have done it. It wasn't as popular back then. So I did have a quick look around, probably still a bit of an idiot and young and whatever at the time. But I went for it. We drank. First 45 minutes, absolutely nothing happened. And I thought, okay, cool, this wasn't meant for me. And sitting there in pitch blackness, listening to the shaman chant away and work with the shakers and try and bring on the spirits, the geometric patterns started forming out of the darkness. Immediately I saw Mayan, Incan, Aztec-like figures of all different colors become bigger and bigger and bigger, and next thing you know, I was traveling down this portal, this wormhole into another dimension. That took me on a journey for several hours. It was very intense. At times, it was quite strong, and some way through the ceremony, I basically felt like I was going to shit my pants. So I went to the bathroom, still in a hallucinogenic state, which was interesting in itself, because there's a first time for everything, and learning how to coordinate your body under the influence was a challenge. But I made it to the bathroom, and look, man, I purged essentially for a good 5 minutes, to the point where I was freaking out because I'd never seen so much matter come out of my body. So a lot of people will tell you about the vomiting. I've never vomited. I've been drinking for nearly 10 years. Never vomited. Don't know why, but there are other ways to purge. And that was definitely a massive purge. And I remember speaking to the shaman after that, and he was saying to me, that's your body letting go. And I'd explained to him that it was the last day of my sentence and so on. And he said, well, I'm not going to tell you that because I'm not someone to tell you that. But if you think that's what it was and you feel that that's what it was, it probably was. So it then began a massive process of letting go, of unbecoming who you are not.
Okay.
As they say.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, unbecoming who you are not, which to me is a very powerful line, because it kind of tells you that when you come from source, when you come from spirit, when you're born, you are your true self. And then over time, society corrupts you. Society tries to dictate who you should be. And we move further and further away from our true sense, from our true spirit. So what ayahuasca tells you, that, that realignment, to go back to source, to go back to who you truly are, and to the magic that, from where you come from. So for those who don't know, ayahuasca is a Quechua word. Quechua is the predominant indigenous language of South America. It's almost like the modern day English of the world. Well, Quechua was the language mostly spoken by most of the tribes in South America, including the Incas. But Quechua originally comes from the Guarani tribe, which was a very powerful warrior tribe, primarily out of the region of Paraguay, north of Uruguay, Argentina, and south of Brazil. Their language gives us many names, including ayahuasca. And ayahuasca essentially means rope to the dead, or connection to the other side, to the other world. In English, it doesn't translate very well, because dead is not a positive thing, but the other side, the spirit world, basically. So that's the meaning of ayahuasca. And also ayahuasca, if you want me to share,
100%.
Ayahuasca is one of the plants, but not the two main plants that the indigenous people recognized as the ones needed for the magic to happen. So DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is the most powerful hallucinogen known to man. But it is found in every single living thing on the planet, including ourselves. Our pineal gland produces it in small quantities, primarily when we're born, and when we die, there are massive dumps of it. to bring us into this world, to take us back into the other world. And then when we dream, the pineal gland releases very small amounts of DMT, which puts us into the dream state.
Yeah.
So we are built in with this enzyme in our stomach that stops us from digesting the DMT in plants that we eat. If we didn't have that blocker, we would probably trip and balls at different times of our life, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So we have this blocker in our stomach. So ayahuasca is this vine that grows in the Amazon jungle. The vine blocks that enzyme. It blocks the enzyme.
Yep.
And it allows the chocruna, which is the second plant, which is very strong and very loaded with DMT compared to other plants. It's very loaded, like yellow acacia, for example, in Australia, which has been said to be used by the Aboriginal people to trip historically. So the chocruna with its DMT now comes in, and that's when the magic happens. The interesting thing about this story is that there are 160,000 plants in the Amazon basin.
Wow.
Somehow the indigenous people learnt. How? We don't know. Well, actually, we do know. They do say, they do tell a story, and I'll share that with you. But somehow they learned that they had to take out of the 160,000 plants, they had to use those two in order for ayahuasca, as we know it, to happen. Yeah. So the story of how they came to that conclusion, before they drank ayahuasca, they drank tobacco. So tobacco, you can also trip on tobacco. And tobacco, in the shaman world, in the indigenous peoples, tobacco is called the grandfather. And ayahuasca is called the grandmother. It's a male energy and a female energy. Tobacco is used for protection. So when the shamans pray for you, when the shamans are doing their work, the first thing that they light up is something called mapacho. Mapacho is tobacco, but the original tobacco, not the hybridized version that the white man then bred over the centuries, right? So
the one
this
that's
is
killing us.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I look at shamans like the 74-year-old who's now 79-year-old shaman that I spent time with in the Amazon jungle, the leader of the Jebero people, the Jebero tribe in Peru, in the Amazonian Peruvian Amazon. He's been smoking mapacho all his life, all day, constantly.
Wow.
And he doesn't seem to have any problems with his lungs or any cancer or anything like that. I mean, that's not scientific, but that's what I saw. And I've seen other shamans and other people in the shamanic world smoking wild tobacco, mapacho, and they don't seem to have those problems. So tripping on tobacco, having visions on tobacco, then the grandfather spirit guided the indigenous people to put those two plants together, brew them together and drink them together.
Wow.
So that's where they got the vision and the message. That's in their own words. Remember, they don't have writing, so everything is passed down verbally. Yeah. And then another thing we do in shamanism is the brew where the two plants are, so ayahuasca and chocruna. They also include a big number of other master plants. Depending on the shaman, depending on what goals he wants to achieve for his group, for his tribe, they add lots of medicinal plants, medicinal master plants. And I can mention a few of them. Chirisanango is a very famous one. So many plants that they add in there. Ahosacha, and you know, and all these healing plants that work together in the brew to do what they do for the people.
You're very well rehearsed, man, on this subject. Obviously, that first experience took you down a path where you probably wanted to go deeper than most people would go, right?
Sure,
and what I ask you is, I've heard different individuals have different experiences. Obviously, yours is very positive, but I've seen ones where it hasn't been quite so positive, right? Yeah. And I don't know the reasons why, because I don't know enough. I just know there's been unbelievable experiences. I've heard of more unbelievable experiences than experiences that haven't been so good, right? What would be the individuals that don't get the experience? Is it because, like, the first time you weren't ready, or was it something completely different?
Very good question, and I'll probably break it down into three things. Number one, who was providing the brew? So, you know, there are people who, for a whole bunch of different reasons, are probably not meant to be shamans. Lack of experience could be one. Also, you know, are they doing it for money, or are they not? Again, are they not prepared? Are they doing it wrong? Did they make a brew the wrong way? I can't speak too much on that because I've only ever drank with two circles, both of them from the same lineage, and I can't report that at all. You know? But I do know that there are some shamans in the world that are probably not operating with the best of intentions, let's say, or at least with lack of experience. Number two, was the person ready? And did they do the right preparation?
So the right preparation, wait a second. So right preparation, and were they ready? So what do you mean ready?
Okay, so ready, so was it at the right time of your life? Were you going through, were you in a period of your life where you were not ready to receive the message, to work on the message, to open up yourself to the possibility of such an important force coming into your life? And helping you on your journey and showing you things that maybe you were not prepared to see. And then the physical preparation, because when you drink ayahuasca, you're supposed to go through a process of a detoxing. So, you know, my shamans, they recommend a minimum of 3 days of no sex, no drugs, no coffee, no sugar, very little salt, because it's all about stabilizing you know, your state, your mind.
Yeah, so you're detoxing because there's no coffee, there's no salt.
Correct. Yeah. So, and then also that they recommend, and a lot of people do this, is a good fast. So on the day, your last meal should be around midday when you drink that night. And then also, there is also a post. So there's a pre-preparation, but then there's a post-integration, which is also important, which a lot of people don't talk about, but it's very important if you want the process to continue, if you want to continue getting the downloads of the insights and remain in that higher level of consciousness, to then your reintegration to be gentle and not sort of come back the next day and eat meat straight away, or you know, go back to say like, you know, like your job where you're surrounded by X amount of people and situations and things. So
you gotta make sure the environment you're coming back into has to be calm, slow.
Definitely.
Like you're slowly coming back into society.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you wish to sort of squeeze the juice out of the fruit. You know, you will still have the effects with you. You will still have the downloads that you received that night, and you will still carry with you the plant as it's working, because now it's inside you. The whole point of the integration and doing it properly is for that work to continue. The other thing that I was going to say, so that's 2 points. The third point, when people speak about horrible experiences, it's not a recreational drug. One of the many nicknames of ayahuasca, which includes abuela, which is grandmother, la purga, which is the purge, and many, many others. One of the nicknames is the work, you know, because essentially you're going there to work, to improve your life, to work on the areas that need to be worked, and to shine a light into the dark spaces. Now, a lot of us, sometimes unknowingly, are carrying some horrible shit. It could be stuff that's just developed in our character for whatever reason, due to insecurities. Mostly, it's due to things that happened during our childhood, so childhood traumas, and they come physical, emotional, sexual abuse, you know, a million shades and a million different things. My question is, would you want to, in hopefully a very short period of time, face up to those demons, bring them out into the surface and deal with them, detox them out of your life, out of your spirit, out of your mind, out of your psychology, or carry them around for essentially your entire life, where it is known that these things can turn into cancers and diseases and all sorts of problems for you as we get older. I mean, it's already bad enough. They do have a physical manifestation. So that's why when people talk about how tough it can be, you know, I do sort of bring attention to that. That yes, it's tough, but you know, big problems need big solutions. You know, so I do know from all the years that I've drank and all the hundreds of people that I sat with, that for a lot of people it can be tough. But I've also seen a lot of people stick with it and come out the other end and be extremely thankful and going through this life-changing process. That ayahuasca, in my opinion, is the accelerator, because you can get there through meditation and all sorts of other avenues, no doubt about it, and even other psychedelics. Yeah. But my experience is ayahuasca is a turbocharge. Yeah. And then there is other magical experiences, which I attribute a lot of my career decisions, good decisions, were thanks to DMT, because it gives you incredible foresight, incredible intuition. And it's a great tool for when you're at the crossroads and you need to make big decisions. Where am I going, left or right? Should I jump on this business? You know, is this the right person for me? Both, you know, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a work relationship, or, you know, she's really good for that. Really, really, really good.
So the DMT is like 4 hours, right? Is that a 4 or 5, 6 hour experience?
So ayahuasca. So DMT, the smokable version. Is a very short 15, 20-minute burst, right? It's not guided, and you know, it comes in very quickly, and it kind of leaves the body very quickly. The oral version, you know, ayahuasca, the brew, the tea, can last 6 to 8 hours actually. Yeah. So naturally, so you drink at night, because it has to be done in the dark, so your vision does not get in the way of your journey. You know, you've come to a very important point in your vision. You don't want it to be interrupted by, you know, Joe who just walked past, you know what I mean, because he needs to go to the bathroom. So you drink in absolute darkness, and usually that's following sunset at some time, so 7:30 to 8:30. And then usually the ceremony wraps up anywhere between 4 and 4:30, sometimes 5 a.m. When I drank in the Amazon jungle, the journeys were getting longer and longer, because we drank every night for a week. Wow. So the cups...
That was a week long?
Yes, a week long, yes.
So you done a week long, so initially you started like... You know, 6 hours?
So you can do one-nighters, two-nighters, three-nighters, right? Yeah. And then some shamans, like my shamans, they offer things called dietas. Dieta is a diet. It's called diet. It's a diet of master plants. Wow. Right? Yeah, and in that week that they offer, which is incredibly cleansing and incredibly deep, you will drink every second night. Yeah. And the other day or night, you will diet on the master plant, which was chosen for you by the shaman to treat whatever thing it is through. that you're going through. Correct.
So, what is the week compared to the day one?
Well, the one nighter. So generally, when I go for a one nighter, it works the body a lot, but the vision and the journeying is not as profound. You do get a lot of it. And there are always exceptions from time to time. You might get surprised by, wow, that was one night. That was amazing. Generally speaking, my experience and those of a lot of people that I have drank with, we find that there's a common factor in that first night being the body. It works the body. And then the second night becomes much more visionary. And then, you know, the third night, much more again. Wow. And I can tell you the things that I saw in the Amazon jungle on nights 5, 6, and 7 were just incredible, like incredible.
How long ago did you do that journey?
I did that in 2016.
16.
Yeah, I'd been partying in Colombia for a month, and Brazil, and Uruguay, and for some reason I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm in the motherland. Let's go. So I spoke to my shamans in Australia who put me on to the people in the Amazon. Yeah. When I say put me on, you know, there wasn't a person on the other side picking up the phone. It was just like, get to this place.
Yeah, wow.
And hopefully they will be there.
Wow.
And it was fly 3 hours from Lima to the city of Iquitos in the Amazon jungle. And it's already like the plane is already like deep into the Amazon jungle. And you get off in this city, you jump on this boat, 7 hours down the Amazon River.
Wow.
Obviously, you're
7 hours.
7 hours down the Amazon River.
Well, it's 7 hours back after
7 hours back, of course, yeah.
Wow.
So then your phone signal disappears, and you're completely on your own.
Wow.
I'm on this boat surrounded. I'm the only white person there.
What are you thinking at that point? What's going on?
You know what, man? I mean, I'm an adventurous soul. I think. I mean, and you know, like the advantage that I have too. I mean, you know, I'm a young man. I'm fit. I'm strong. I can handle myself.
Speak the language,
and I can speak the language. Now, having said that, there is a big difference between what I would call like myself, like a Hispanic Latino, right? I do have indigenous blood in me through my father's side, but I'm far from an indigenous person. So I did very much feel like a foreigner in that place.
Yeah.
Anybody would. It's impossible not to, you know, where you are. I also happened to go during the flood season, which is the time you're not supposed to go, but typical me, that's when I went, idiot. So what happens then is the river, the banks of the river, so where the tree line begins, it is flooded for another 150 meters into the jungle. Finally, after asking everybody, where am I going? Where is this guy, Don Bechin, that I'm supposed to go seeing? And no one's answering. Indigenous people in South America, they're not like us. If you had a podcast with an indigenous person, it would be very boring. They don't speak.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't speak. So finally, I get to this place called Maniti, and they go, oh, yeah, the guy that you've been asking for is here. And I said, well, I asked 15 times. No one wanted to help me. But now they're like, yeah, he's here. Go. Anyway, picked me up. Then they took me another 45 minutes down the river from the village. And they dropped me off in this hut in the middle of the jungle by myself for a week. And the master shaman would come at night. We would drink ayahuasca. We would have small talks. You know, he would guide me. We would say some funny things as well. We would smoke some mapacho together in the middle of the night. And in the morning, at the break of dawn, he would leave, and I wouldn't see him again until nighttime.
Wow.
And then in the morning, his son would come and give me a very small plate of food, one little fish, one little bit of rice, and a banana, cooked banana, and that was my food for the whole day, the whole week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not only going through this path of where you're kind of seeing what your next phase is.
Sure.
But you're also doing a detox type of diet.
Huge. So it's all part of the. So the body and the mind, obviously, they don't work separately. They work together.
Right.
And also that whole thing about being away and being alone. So the journey is within, not without.
Okay.
Right. So the distractions, you know, to lower your distractions, and which I think is someone that something we all need that, like especially in this overstimulated world that we live in, completely overstimulated.
It is.
You know, I think a lot of the reasons why we are where we are as a humanity is because we're confused. We're overstimulated. We're saturated with you know, distractions.
Yeah.
And you know, men are not men anymore, and women are not women anymore.
That's right.
And kids are not kids anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's interesting times for humanity, and unfortunately, you know, perhaps not in the best way. But that's the challenge for us. And that's why ayahuasca right now is so important. And that's also why she is more popular than ever. Because
people are looking, they're searching, right? Like,
definitely.
Like, think about COVID.
Yeah.
You know, we've been good friends for a long time.
Yes.
And we were talking and I wasn't quite where I needed to be.
Sure.
And, you know, when I look back at it, everything, we need people in our lives to make things happen. You know, you got a beautiful wife now.
I do,
right?
yes.
And you've connected with your soulmate.
Yes, man.
And it's not easy to get there. Like if you look at every challenge there is in life.
Yes, brother.
If you look at absolutely everything that happens to us in life, it's hard to find the answers, and we're searching, and then we're overstimulated. And I've seen today you put up a post of Dr. Gabor, right? And he's talking about young kids and being overstimulated on their phones.
Definitely.
So we don't even know where we're going half the time.
Nah, man.
Right?
No.
And you know, I'm kind of lucky that I've got a good circle of people, and I consider you one of them.
Likewise, man.
And you know, I'm kind of lucky. I haven't done ayahuasca. I've thought about it, but I haven't done it. But
We've
I
spoken
learned
a lot about it, bro. I think
100%. And
yeah.
I think like when I'm speaking to you a lot of the time, like I'm thinking right now, and I'm going, Mets, have your ego in check. And I think
Yes.
that's what ayahuasca does a lot. Like let go, bring your ego
time.
back to where you need to bring it back to. But you know, you know, if I look at you, you spent 7 years in jail. You're always a person. Like I believe everyone that's going to that level, right, is if they can channel their energy in the right area, they're high achievers in everything.
Yeah.
Everything they set their mind to, they can become anything. Some people don't know how to get out of that. You've done that extremely well. And what I want to ask you now is, from the first time you took it to the week long that you've done in the Amazon, to the last time you took it, I don't know when that was.
Yeah.
What's been the experience from day one to the 1 week to the last one? What's the last one been
Another
like?
very good question, man. Look, there's a continuation. There is definitely a continuation. There is a central message of appreciation. There is a central message of, don't worry, everything is okay.
Yes.
You know, which to me is
I love
very
that, man.
important. Yeah, it's very important, Mets, because we live in a world that's constantly trying to push you into a state of anxiety, fear and anxiety, because then they want to sell you safety and the cure, right? So that's that dynamic that they got us stuck in. You know, that's the reason why, you know, the algorithm of social media knows that fear and anxiety and anger makes you click more than love and peace and a like and love, right? That's the reason why newspapers don't exist anymore. But you know, like mainstream media knows that fear and anxiety sells more than anything else. And you know, so the central message is a feeling of love, is a feeling of don't worry, and it's a feeling of keep going and keep going. Again, for me, it's incredibly creative, and it's a reminder of, again, unbecoming who you are not. So putting you back on the path. So it very much feels like the Matrix versus who we really are as a humanity. And I use, you know, my own journey as me, as an individual, but as an expression of what it is, ayahuasca and psychedelics as a whole are for humanity. They are undoing what the Matrix has done to us and is doing to us every day. Yeah. You know, so sounds
it's almost
pretty far-fetched.
what you're doing. No, it's not. Doesn't sound far-fetched. You're disconnecting yourself from the program.
Unscrambling.
Yeah, you're unscrambling, disconnecting yourself. You're having greater visions. You're having greater belief. You don't feel like you're locked up anymore.
No,
because what tends to happen is when we're overstimulated by the news, by the media, by environments that we choose to hold us prisoners of who we need to become. We have to find ways to get out of it.
Most definitely. And you know, the world, including, again, social media, is breeding this thing that you're not good enough. No one's good enough. You're not living the life unless you're on a yacht in the Mediterranean. And also the definition of what's successful. You know? But I mean, the one thing that and this is my own analogy now. This is something that I learned through drinking ayahuasca. Life is a puzzle, but it's a puzzle that you're trying to achieve inside the puzzle. So you're inside this box with all these pieces of the puzzle, and it's impossible to see what goes where. And you kind of struggle. You might find, oh yeah, that piece goes here, that piece goes there. But it's very hard because you've got no vision. You've got no higher state of consciousness, higher vision, which is where ayahuasca puts you. So you drink ayahuasca and now it feels like you're looking down on your life. You're looking down on your relationships. You're looking down on what it is that you're trying to achieve from a higher position. And everything makes sense. And then you go, okay, now I see where this goes. This is really important to me. This isn't. Why was I focusing on this person? This person should not be my business partner. We don't vibrate on the same frequency. You know, oh my God, that's a real cool idea. Why didn't I think of that before? And over the years, sometimes very quickly, sometimes not, that puzzle begins to come together.
Yeah.
And I feel like ayahuasca is that accelerator for you to be able to achieve that puzzle, which is the puzzle of life.
It's funny you say that, because every time I'm trying to take action on the next thing that I'm trying to do, the next thing I'm trying to do, I'm trying to figure out,
Yes.
am I going down the right path?
Sure.
Am I going down the right path? And just recently, and I'll show you the vision board later so you get to see it, but this podcast studio wasn't even here.
Yeah.
The retreat I hadn't even gone to yet.
Uh-huh.
I've always felt it in me to do that.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I had to move towards those events, and do the things that were kind of outside of what I was capable of. But maybe I was always capable of it. Maybe I was just in my way. And and it's hard. You're right, because you're going, if I do this, am I going to be successful in this? If I do this, am I going to be successful? If I pick the wrong partner here that's going to run with me, is that going to slow me down? At each point, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it, but now I'm second guessing myself. And what you're saying is ayahuasca shows you, because you're looking at yourself, you go, yep, that's the right play, man.
Definitely. Look, man, like most people will tell you, it is literally a woman, mostly a woman. 99.9% of the time, it is a woman telling you these things. I can tell you something which most people won't believe, but this is fact.
Tell me.
My wife, ayahuasca is a very, well, for her being Thai, it's a very foreign thing. And for many people, it's still like a drug or whatever it was. She drank with me once or twice, 3-4 times, and she got it. She kind of felt it, and she told me a lot of stories of appreciation and things like that. And she cried, and she saw our pets and our future and stuff like that. But she had this big doubt: is this what I think it is? Because this woman is talking to me. I got this woman speaking to me in Thai, telling me things.
Wow.
So you know what ayahuasca did, bro? And take this whichever way you want. She said to her, play these lotto numbers and you will win.
Wow.
See if you believe me or not. We finish the ceremony and she starts talking about these lotto numbers. Lotto, the numbers. She gave me the numbers. And I was like, whatever, like it was kind of crazy. Plus she was kind of mumbling, and there was a lot of things happening.
But she knew the numbers, though.
She knew the numbers. She sent the numbers to Thailand, played the lottery, and won $11,000 Australian.
Wow.
Not like played them 3 times and won. No, played them and won.
Wow.
Fact.
Yeah.
And then along the way, she's been downloading a whole bunch of other things, which is super interesting because she seems to get a lot of these things right.
Wow. So downloading, what do you mean downloading?
Like information. Like, this person has, they got a certain problem with money or whatever, and then boom, like a month later, they got a problem with money.
yeah, wow.
Very interesting. But
like, say for instance, you're making a business decision.
Sure.
You're taking Candy.
Sure.
Nightclub to Thailand. Yeah. Is she seeing things and giving you, hey?
Well, not necessarily on that level.
No.
Not on that level. I mean, recently, because we've just exploded in terms of our investment in business now that we've taken on the Thailand project. But perhaps not through her, but I did have the time when I went to, because I started and I owned Full Moon Party Australia, right? I went to Full Moon Party in Thailand. And I remember sitting there going, this is the same fucking cunts that are partying in Sydney. The same backpackers, the same Aussies, the same. I know these guys. They're all in Sydney. Yeah. And I was with a boy of mine, Josh Lim Boxing. Shout out to him, true brother. Another drinker.
Josh,
another drinker.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca drinker.
Yeah. Let's get it right, bro.
Yeah.
Might see him at the pub down the corner.
Actually, can't drink two vodkas. He's already on the floor. Sorry. So anyway, I'm there and I'm like, dude, this is, and he was like, nah, I don't see it. He was with me and he's like, nah, I don't see it. And I came back to Sydney and I spoke to a few people and they're like, it's not really going to happen. Like my brain's trust. And I went and I drank and she said to me, fucking go for it and show them all what I'm showing you. And she was showing me packed venues, people going crazy, psychedelic, UV shit, Anyway, I did it. And look, man, anybody will tell you that. I mean, I can tell you, I generated millions of dollars because of that. It was a run of I don't know how many years of like, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people a year. By putting that thing together. Now, look, would it have happened otherwise? Maybe so, but that's my journey. I'm sharing with you my experience. You know, that spark or that tick or that push or that answer that I was looking for. So that's why I say to you and I say to people, like, if you're looking for answers, psychedelics, amazing.
So that was you've done the first one in Thailand already. No, and
I had
it
been to it. I had been to it. I seen it.
And
I thought this would work in Sydney, but everyone told me, nah, it's not going to work.
In Sydney, that was. But
I
now
came
it's
back,
massive. Like he even knows about it. Like
no. So the one in Thailand is a completely separate beast, and it's been going for decades.
Yeah, wow.
Right, but what I did is I made a Sydney version of it, Australian version, because I've done it around the country at a nightclub level. Never took it to a festival level. Australia is a very complicated place to do that type of thing. But I mean the you know just I guess a small example of the kind of insights that you can get in that heightened state of consciousness.
You know? So what
it does? It's not just some hippie spiritual.
No.
And it does work very much on that level. So spiritual level, physical level, it can cure you. I've known so many. I've cured my own ear.
Wow.
I had tinnitus from the nightclubs and I focused on it. Last ceremony, I focused on it for 5-10 minutes, gone. Wow. I don't know. Is that something else? Maybe it is. But I've known many people that've healed themselves.
No, I think like look, if your intentions are in the right place, you can heal anything really.
We're capable. We're capable.
100%.
It's been taken from us, but we're capable. So spiritual, physical, and then there's the material as well, which can come through, especially if you make it your intention for ceremony. If you make it your intention for ceremony, you can get lots of answers. Yeah, bro.
And if you look at the evolution of who you've become, like I remember you at Rockdale. You know, we don't even sound like the same guys. Imagine,
of course not,
imagine
man.
we went back to that time and they go, what were you two like?
Man, look, bro, get out of here, man. This guy's tripping. What the fuck are you talking
That's
about?
That's what I'm saying. You know, and that's what I talk about, possibility, right?
Sure.
Like what, you know, we talk about environment and then we talk about what are the possibilities of what people can become if they're in the right environment. And obviously, you know, you're a guy that I trust, and when you talk about ayahuasca, I'd go to the right guy, get the advice off the right guy, do it the right way.
Thank you.
If you want to get the right information, this is the intention you got to go with.
Yes,
but you got to be searching for something that is valuable to you, right? And I think that's important.
Yeah, of
because
course. Intention.
If you look at life in itself, we feel more important, or we feel of value when we add value to people, right?
Yes, man.
And most people have trouble adding value to people's lives because, like you said before, the matrix, the news, everything is almost bringing you down to almost nothing. And then we go, what value do we have, right?
Sure.
And, you know, when I look at your candy nightclubs, nightlife, the whole thing, right?
Sure.
You're bringing people to celebrate, to live, to love, right? The whole you know, event is around that. And then, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, and I could kind of see your vision. You want to take the vision to where, you know, you can take this trip through cannabis, through ayahuasca, through tobacco, have these beautiful experiences, and you can be in the right place. Is that your vision?
Man, I mean, I think that the world needs all different kinds of peoples and characters for us to be complete. You know, most of us that unfortunately exist in this matrix, it's all achieve, work, you know, more, you know, be better. And I resonate very much with that in the sense that it is all about, you know, becoming the best version of yourself. However, without the other side, which is the fun, feeling alive, perhaps doing some things that you will later regret, but it's still what makes you who you are, because without that, you're not the other person. Like, it's a yin and yang kind of thing, right? I think that there's a space for people like me and people that do what I do, particularly when there's enough good intention in there. Yes, it's a business for me. Yes, there's a lot of ego involved in nightlife and in partying, because people project themselves there. You know, you put your best clothes on, and you know, and you present yourself to the best of your ability in the exterior, at least. But you know, if I can do that with good intention, in hopefully a safe place, and under sort of the friendliest conditions possible, well, then so be it. I must admit, particularly in a country like Australia, culture, music, fun, dancing, it's lacking. We need it. We need it on the streets. We need it out in the open, not some like demonic thing that's done at night away from everyone, you know, because alcohol is bad, you know. Like Liverpool Council just put on an amazing Latin festival over the weekend, and I commend them for that. I actually started that conversation with them in 2011. Shout out to Max Luciano. We were trying to put it together with the current mayor, who now put it together this last weekend, and it was amazing. There was no drama. Everyone went and partied, danced the whole weekend, ate. Kids will walk away remembering that for many, many years. They're probably going to become musicians and dancers thanks to that experience. But I feel like, perhaps in some way that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to do what you were just saying.
Well, the South Americans do that the best.
Correct.
Honestly, they
do.
So they're the best.
Agreed.
At it.
Agreed.
100%. If you look at Europe within itself, like my kids, man, they're 17 and 20, and they want to go to Europe because it's free.
Yeah,
the freedom's there. It's alive.
Yeah.
You know, people get up a bit later. They stay up a bit later. Sure. There's a much more of a community.
It's a balance.
Sense.
It's a balance.
It is. It is 100%.
Yeah,
and
it's a balance.
And there's a bit. There seems to be, you know, if you look at local produce, it's not filled with Roundup and pesticides and all that kind of stuff. You know, that this country has probably become, you know, a bit too much in that area in terms of what the health is. Look, back when we were growing up, you know, Tuesday night was on, Wednesday night was on, Thursday night was on, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The nightlife was unbelievable, right?
Man. Yep.
The only night that was off was Monday, right? And sometimes I feel sorry for this generation because they can't enjoy that part.
No.
Like we were kind of, I was kind of lucky, man. It was on almost every night of the week.
Yeah.
And
same.
You know, and it wasn't like you went out till late hours because it was there.
Yeah.
So when you oppress society, when you oppress communities, they're going to go and do stupid things.
Yes,
the suicide rate, everything becomes much higher,
Agreed.
right? But when you let people live and enjoy, things start to change. And I think this country has been too oppressed.
So
I think everywhere has been.
But
more so probably
we're all going in that direction. And it's that release of that pressure that builds up and builds up and builds up. Look, this is a bit of a topic of mine as far as what I see and feel, because I've been wrestling with this idea, this lack of freedom, this lack of completeness that I have felt as an adult for a long time. It went from just repeating what the old people, the old wogs, you know, my family used to say, Australia. It went from that, me just sort of repeating that, to actually realizing that this is an amazing country in so many ways.
100%.
In so many ways, and we have a lot to be thankful for. But there's something missing. You know, man, particularly since I've made the move to Thailand, man, I've never had more engagement with people on social media, people that I don't even know, people that I know, and some people who are very close friends who I've got a lot of time for, have this engagement about them wanting to do the same. You know, I see the people that are there for 1 week and everyone says the same thing. Oh, I feel free. Oh, this is so good. And I actually, now I've actually, they come to my restaurant, they come to my shop. What is good about it? And they can't even tell you what it is. They just feel it.
It's the freedom. Look, man, we've got the best beaches in the world. Look where we are, right?
Sure.
You could easily do what they do in other countries here.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? You could easily do it. We once had that.
Yeah,
we
man.
did. We honestly, we did. You go back to the early 2000s, you go back to the 90s, it was like that, right?
Sure.
And I think that's the essence you want to bring back to the country. You don't want to look at that negative side. You want to go, hey, what can we do about it? How
Yeah.
can we bring
You can
something?
complain about it, and I do, and we
Yeah.
do, because complaining is a way of obviously sharing
Yeah.
and venting and releasing that pressure,
Yeah.
pressure, and also finding like-minded individuals. It's
Yeah.
not just a negative thing. Don't whinge, don't complain. There's a time and place for it. But then ultimately you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of those people that within my my world and within my reach, I've tried to do that. But I do think that there's opportunities outside of Australia.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now coming back to perhaps the economy and the financial side, and also like a historical point of view, I think the West is probably had its best time.
Yeah.
And speaking to a lot of people that know a lot more than me, they seem to agree that Asia is probably going to be
The next big boom.
Yeah, it's already
It's already
big
there.
boom.
Yeah, it is.
It's just
yeah.
that we who are we to how do you gauge it? Who's there to tell you live what history's been written, right? But
Well, who's the leader? They need a Rafa there. So he's there already, right?
No, but you understand, like I find that when I'm there, I feel like, and now this is me sharing brother to brother, I feel like there's endless opportunities there.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel like you can do whatever
It's funny
you
you
want.
say that because I was in Italy early this year, and my wife's from Italy.
Uh-huh.
But man, I fell in love with the place, bro.
Of course.
Like honestly, fell in love with the place,
Yeah,
and I
man.
was there for 3 weeks, and I go,
Beautiful, man.
how
Italy's beautiful.
how am I gonna create this evolution? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we're gonna do retreats in Fiji.
Yeah, man.
You know, you're kind of the pioneer, and I want to come to Thailand. I have to come to
Please,
Thailand.
man.
I have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
come.
please
After
come
this
see us.
conversation,
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
talk more
yeah.
off the camera,
Yeah.
but you know, there's things that I want to be able to do there. Because
Definitely.
when I went to Italy, I said, I was saying to Kenny, there's got to be more. There's got to be more, and I'm at that point now where this evolution of getting people healthy, making them feel good, removing limiting beliefs, because I was there. I know what it feels like. And now I'm in control.
Yeah.
I'm in control of my reactions. I've got to get better in my reactions. I've got to remove the ego as much as I can
We all
in
do,
instances.
man. We all do.
And I've got to get better at that, but I'm aware. My awareness
That's the
is
first
there.
step. The first
You know
step
what I
is
mean?
awareness, right? If you
Yeah,
don't know it's there, how can you address it?
100%.
Yeah.
But, having these moments in your life where you're seeing these visions,
Yeah.
have you looked at, have you got a vision board of where you kind of want to take things and how far you want to go? And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
You're extremely talented, bro. I've been watching your videos.
Thank
You're
you, man.
unbelievably
Bless you, bro.
talented. Like, this is coming from me. And this
Thank you,
is
bro.
being honest with you.
Thank you, man.
You're unbelievably talented. Like
Thank
the way you get on stage and you speak, and you got that unbelievable South American accent that you use. You sing well.
Thank you.
And if I was to give you advice, I'd be going, man, go to the moon and trust your instincts, bro, because
Bless you, bro.
you've
Thank
got
you.
it.
Yeah.
And obviously you do ayahuasca to see it, and you want to make sure that you make the right moves, and I get that. But I see you as much more than that. Like, you know how to look after your health. And this is the thing, when you're talking about ego before, bro, everyone should show up looking their best.
Of course.
Everyone should. Of course it's hard work.
No.
But don't you think the media's told us, hey, don't worry about that?
Okay, man. Yeah, 100%. So we're in a country, particularly that does not allow you to be confident. Does not allow you to say, "Hey, I'm fucking good." You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're in a country that does not allow you to say, "I am fucking successful because I've worked my ass off and I deserve it."
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to do that.
That's the problem with this country.
It-
Like in
big
America,
problem.
you can say whatever you want.
Correct. So they I've been working with some Americans. My growers in Thailand are American.
Yeah.
And they're on the other end of the spectrum. They're, me.
That's true as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true
yeah.
as well.
Particularly people from New York.
100%, man.
Particularly people from New York. But see, when you come from that extreme, again, your surroundings determine how you
Yeah.
are. But look, there is a healthy dose of ego.
Yeah.
Without it, you are the opposite, which is, insecure, and that then opens up your body, your mind, and your soul to take on whatever is around you. Whereas what you want to do is this is me. I'm strong. I'm comfortable in my own skin, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying that a six-pack is good for you. I mean, that's the way it's been forever. Mets. It's only in the last few years that they're trying to tell us that you
100%.
can't fat shame or you can't.
But you go back to
ridiculous.
the 50s, 60s, they had abs back then.
Definitely.
There was less GMO food. There was less pesticides.
Yes,
There was less
sugar,
of everything.
yep.
There was less of all these foods that are making people feel worse. More depressed, more anxious.
Well, the food pyramid told us that we needed
100%,
seven servings of grains a day.
Yeah.
I can't even.
It's a killer.
Even at my worst as a kid growing up in South America, where bread is everything, I still couldn't have 7 servings a day. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, 100%. And I think everything has taken us to the point of where, we've lost confidence in the ability to be free thinkers, which you are, the free thinker, right?
But look, I like to think so. Yeah. But I will say this though, Mets, and this comes back to like even things like how long we've known each other, right? And now this is my own journey now also in the last, since I got out, particularly since social media, Facebook. I remember rants on Facebook about the topic of the day, conspiracy theory 101, right?
Yeah.
And I would get bagged both online, behind my back, and sometimes even in person. Hey, look, he's chemtrails guy. Hey, how's the chemtrails going? Rah. Cool.
Yeah.
Those same motherfuckers, right, are now not knee deep, neck deep in that plane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then also, like boys like me and you, boys, not soft men, but you and me, training the body, some sort of success and leaders, right, in our own worlds, having these conversations about all of these like very eccentric, very alternative topics. 10 years ago, unheard of, my friend.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely unheard of.
Yeah.
You got what I call the new mainstream, which are your Rogans and all these people, openly speaking about psychedelics, openly speaking about what people call conspiracy theories. You can see that the world is changing.
Yeah, it is.
You can see that for every moment you think we're fucked, right? If you look, the revolution is happening.
I remember we were talking about this.
Yeah, man.
I remember we were talking about this. You said, Matt, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen straight away. I remember you said it. You said it's going to be, it's going to take its time. And there's going to be this big shift. But within that big shift, there's wars, right? You know what I mean?
Unfortunately.
I'm talking about people's lives are lost through that process. And in every time in history like this, it always happens.
Yeah, so when there's a polarization in society, at some point, supposedly at least, there should be a snap. When that snap occurs is when you have that implosion, right? Yeah. Having said that, I mean, history repeats itself, but then, it isn't written in stone. Yeah. Unfortunately, what we're dealing with, and most people need to understand, is that the world is run by psychopaths. Yeah,
it is.
Right? And Satanists, right? Control freaks, archon energy, if you go back to, mystics of the ancient world. Once you understand that, or once you realize that, then everything changes. Everything makes sense. Yeah. When you realize that the people that are pulling the levers are Satanists. I mean, declared Satanists. Then you understand what's going on in the world. Then you see the intention behind what's behind the curtain. Yeah. If you don't realize that, then you will get stuck in that world where there is.
Well, you'll think it's always going to be negative,
bad people.
But sometimes you'll think it's going to always be negative, and it's never going to come out too. On both ends of the scale.
Okay,
right?
so the way you take power away from those people is not to give them all the power by saying, "Oh my God, we're fucked. These people are too powerful. They control the whole world. There's nothing that we can do." Yeah. Which is some people in our sphere. Let's call it our sphere. Yeah. Some people do think like that. Yeah. And then they become incredibly isolated and also quite all about themselves because there is no solution as a community, or there is no hope as a humanity. Somewhere in the middle is where we need to be. Somewhere in the middle 100%. Is where we need to be.
And you can see quite a shift in that.
I
see a
believe
shift,
so. I believe so. I mean, look, you've got people that are.
No, I mean, not enough, but there is a shift happening.
Well, I think it. You know, you've heard of critical mass theory. You don't need a majority.
No,
you don't need a majority.
I think it's like you need 1 to 10. Then I think it comes to 5. And 10, like I think 10 over the board, but I think it's about 5. You're right.
Particularly once you get into the sphere of influence. So when you got people with influence.
Yeah.
That truly have an impact, you know, like sports people.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and obviously, you know, for me, Rogan is an incredible example of what the modern man.
But Djokovic,
is.
look at what he's done, man. Like,
Djokovic,
fuck, come on, man.
amazing.
Like, this
amazing.
battle,
I take my hat off. I take my hat off.
100%.
And thankfully, there's a growing list of people, and as that list grows, everybody grows nuts.
Yeah.
And you see like Tom Brady and all these guys, right? But the thing that we're seeing is the world has never been sicker, but also the world's never been healthier.
Yeah.
We've got access to knowledge and to nutrition and to regenerative practices and things now which we never had before. So I think that polarization, you know, is happening both in terms of, you know, in the political sphere, but also in terms of, you know, medicine, health and nutrition. And, you know, but there is a huge industry growing. If there's an industry, there's a market. If there's a market, there's people.
Man, 100%.
You get me? So, you know, you go to Thailand, you go to all these places in the world, you're seeing organics, you're seeing, you know, the explosion in gyms and training and fighting, you know, and, you know, because obviously mixed martial arts is a big thing now. And people want to get healthy.
Yeah, man.
People want to get healthy.
More than ever.
More than ever, man.
Look, on both ends of the scale, more than ever. And I think, you know, there's going to be a point where, you know, look, I like to remain optimistic. I'm like you. You know
you have to, man. You have to.
I like to remain optimistic. And I think a lot of things have changed for me in that optimism. And then going, okay, how can we expand our thoughts and our processes so that way we can create something where we can create a safe haven or an intentional life, right?
Yes.
And start that crusade. And I think, man, hopefully, you know, we can do some stuff overseas.
I'm your boy, Mets.
Because I think we got to a point in our lives where, you know, we have a voice, and I think a lot of people need to hear it.
Yeah, Mets, and also like
I'm proud of you, bro. Honestly, I am, bro.
Same Mets. You know, like there's a handful of people that I think of when I think of Sydney, and I think of people that I respect, because respect is a big thing, man. Like for me, anyway. Like if I kind of look at you and I say, man, I wouldn't mind being a bit more like him or like him. To me, that's a big thing. And without that, I don't know how good the relationship's going to be. And from far away, I don't see you a lot, but I see that, bro. I see that in you. I see the leadership quality, you know. And you know, the few times that we've hung out and spoken, I really appreciate it, bro. And I feel it too, because it's not just hear it and see it.
Well, the next time you do ayahuasca, I'm going to ask you, what do you see? Do you see?
Did you see me?
Did you see me in Thailand?
I tell you, hey, come and see me. I tell you something I saw, and I'm going to share this with your crowd and mine. So many moons ago. Well, I guess I got to go one step back. The first time that I went in was in 99. I did 3 months. Dumb shit. But I had previously met real quickly Hux. Right? Fast forward to my time in Park Lee, I'd done a lot of dumb shit with a crew of Polynesian boys, stick-up kids, ARs, and they went in before me, and that time that they were in there, I was looking after them, organising drops and all these things. Everybody was taken care of. And a few months later, I go down myself. So when I went in there, it was like a party. In comes this Lebo, as everybody in the yard was saying. They'd put him into the Islander wing, and everybody wanted to eat him. But they wouldn't let him out. But anyway, I can't remember the story from the Screws' point of view, but the guy sees me in the yard through the bars, and he said to me, "Hey, loco, whatever." And I'm trying to ignore him because I know it's the Arab that everybody wants to eat. I don't want to talk to him. Maybe I know him. I don't want to get in that situation. Anyway, it was Hux.
Yeah.
So I started talking to him. Hey, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. And I got a pass for him. So they forgave him. The boys forgave him, right? And he felt in debt to me. I got bail, and he says to me, "When you get out, talk to this guy. He's my boy. Whatever you need." And that was Dax.
Yeah, wow.
So I get out. No one wants to touch me. None of my Fairfield crew. No one wants to touch me because I'm red hot, right? So now I'm like, fuck, I'm bored as hell. I'm like 19 years old, right? I ring up this number. Dax comes to pick me up. And he introduces me to an area which I'd never done anything in, which is Rockdale, because I'm from Fairfield, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Takes me to Rockdale, shows me around, shows me a great time, and he said, bro, you stick with me now, whatever you need, you're good. And he says to me, we're going to start training. Now, I'd always done sports and things. I was a bit of a prodigy football player. I went to sports high school, state volleyball, rah. But never proper done like gym work, like weights, right? So he goes to me, look, he goes, we're going to go to Titans.
Yeah.
Right? He goes, but not yet. First, we've got to go to hardcore gym.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to do like a month there. We've got to get some size. You go, and then we're going to go to Titans gym.
So Titans was the place.
Titans was the place in Rockdale. Yeah,
otherwise you're not allowed in.
And I remember, and I was like, you know, and again, I don't know anything. And I'm like, fuck, Titans must be hectic, bro.
Yeah. Well, there was, thanks.
So anyway, so we went to hardcore, and it was, you know, it was pretty ghetto.
Yeah, it was ghetto.
And then, you know, a lot of fun stories there. There was a lot of gangster shit going on at the time. Dax heavily involved, obviously. And then, anyway, you know, you got some size, and there was a lot of stanozol and shit around those days. And then eventually we'll make it to the Titans. And that's when I met you, your bro, and everybody that was in the crew then. Yeah. And some of the monsters that were training in there. Yeah. And there was a couple of incidents in there. People getting chased into the place. I mean, nothing to do with you guys, but you were just there in Rockdale.
And I used to explain to people, like, it really tested, you know, me and my brothers of how to navigate, man. Like, you know, if I learned all my skills, I learnt it there.
Yeah, man.
And it was the Wild West. You know, look, thank God no one got hurt in our gym. And you know what? Honestly, we've done a tremendous job, because every gym in that area, someone has been hurt. And one thing we were great at was being able to negotiate and make people feel safe enough, safe enough in what was back then the Wild West. And I think, you know, it's hard to put, and I try and tell my team, I go, you know, there's no problems. I go, you want to know problems? I go, how we navigated was unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
Because there was so many close calls.
I remember once or twice there was a couple of things, and you know, I was more of an observer at the time, let's say, because it wasn't my area, and I was kind of like just following the lead of.
You know what we had?
Boys,
we had respect that we didn't really. Man. We had respect that we and I think we stood up for ourselves. Yeah. But we had respect in the sense, hey, listen, man, we don't want anyone to have trouble here. We don't want anyone to have trouble here. Yeah. And I think that's what people respected. They go, look, they don't want any of us to fight, and probably no one wanted to fight each other at the end of the day. No. Like, people did, but they probably go, fuck, at least I could go home and relax a bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was, you try and keep it as safe, haven as much as possible, with all the testosterone, with all the egos.
Yeah. So there was some heads in there, man.
That was so quite challenging, bro.
And then when I saw you here, you did say off camera, you say, no, I don't think you recognise me. I did, bro. I recognise you, but what am I going to say? I remember you from Rockdale, cuz.
You know what was hard? I say to everyone, like, when you're young, you have less fear. You just have less fear. You think nothing's going to ever happen to you. Look, I was kind of like you had my brothers there. We knew enough people to make that work, and I think it put us in good stead for everything. And I'll tell you what it did do. But I always go through tough times, like in the present moment. I think to myself, how the fuck did I do it back then? Yeah. This is nothing compared to back then. Sure. I'm telling you. Yeah. And my mind goes back to that all the time. And I think it's important.
It's a school of life, man.
I think it's important to go and realise that. But man, finally, obviously I'm gonna put your Instagram handle and all everything where everyone can follow you. Sure, man, sure. Candy nightclubs. Yeah. Reggaeton. Right? Yes, reggaeton. Did I say that right? Because I just got introduced to it a few weeks ago. I was saying to Kenny, my mate goes, mate, do you know how big reggaeton is?
Yeah, man.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
And so that's on tonight. It's a big event, big night.
Yeah, man. And Saturdays on lock. Yeah. Been the number one
Latin party
for a long time. Every Saturday night. Yep.
And where's it at?
Shark Hotel in the
Shark
city.
Hotel,
Yeah,
yeah.
level 2.
Yeah.
We do Magic Men first, which is 300-400 girls getting loose with the Magic Men Sydney crew. Straight after we open the club.
Yeah.
You know, so we open up a club every Saturday with 300-400 girls inside.
Wow.
And then we do anywhere.
Can
you know,
anyone have to go?
Ask your missus.
I'll
Yeah,
take
so
her.
incredible vibe. You know, very lucky to have that great association with the Maloney's group, and we've been working together amazingly well. Yeah. And now over the summer we hit Sea Deck, which is you know, in my opinion, the best party vessel in Sydney. And we do that twice a month on Sundays. Also a collaboration with DJ Nino Brown, you know, the chief rocker #1 in Australia. We're doing some work together. I'm bringing him to Thailand to launch Candy Thailand on the 11th of the 11th. So lots of things happening over there. You know, we've got
special day 11th.
Yeah. That's right. Well, also for the Anzacs and all that as well. I know that's important because of World War I and all that. But you know, the two gates. So that's the date that I chose to launch the company officially in Thailand, even though we've been growing cannabis and already distributing, and we've got quite a big distribution network happening there. We're going to launch our first official retail store. It's our flagship retail store. I've been spending a lot of time and energy on that to make it perfect. We've got an open air cinema that we're building there as well on the same site.
Wow.
And you know, we've got like arcade games and a putt-putt golf site. They're all in the same place, right next to the restaurant, The Garden, which is doing really well. My wife's an incredible cook. Right next to the cocktail bar that we also built, and 50 meters from our farm. And the farm is, I'm told by others, that it's the biggest commercial farm in Phuket, on the island of Phuket. There are many bigger farms in Thailand. The cannabis industry is a multi-$100 million industry already, and it's going to continue to grow for many, many years. And yeah, so lots of happening over there. Most people kind of say, "Oh, how's your holiday in Thailand?" I go, "Man, I've never worked harder in my life."
I knew it was never going to be a holiday.
No. I mean,
your intentions was to continuous growth.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, like I like a challenge. And I think what happens too is you know, I get a little bit bored from time to time with you know, the status quo or whatever. So, but more importantly, I think like I see something. And I'm attracted to it for whatever reason. I call it cool shit. Something that's, to me, it feels like cool shit, or I want to do some cool shit. Like cannabis and that whole association with music and events and artists and stuff kind of appeals to me a little bit. So, and also I've seen firsthand what it does for people. It's not for everybody, but man, for millions and millions and millions of people around the planet, it's medicine, bro. So
it's huge, man. Look at what it's done for Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, man.
He's unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable, man. Respect to him. Wow. Incredible what they.
I mean, just how he recreated his life, man, and how relevant he is.
I know.
Today, you know, it's just amazing, man. You know.
Yeah. So you know, we're doing our thing over there, and it just feels right. And so I come back to Sydney from time to time. Just to, you know, come and see everybody. Show up to everybody.
I'm going to come.
Please,
very,
man,
very
please.
soon.
Yeah. Come and see me.
soon.
I mean, very much in line with some of the things that I think you're kicking off in Fiji.
Yeah, 100%, bro. We have to do it.
We've got already at least in the subconscious planning board to do that kind of thing over there, because the world's calling for it, man.
I'll talk to you off camera, exactly. I'll share the list of what I'm doing over there, bro.
It's going to blow your mind.
It's going to blow your mind.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Nah, thank you, man.
Fuck, we could have gone for 3 hours easily.
I know, man. Tell me about it.
That was the longest one at the moment,
Well, can always come back, man.
No, we're going to do more, bro.
Really enjoyed it, bro.
We're going to do